He lives on a mountain in the midst of vastness and beauty. A private man in a quiet place. When he comes down the mountain, suddenly he's Robert Redford, the colossal box office movie star and director. Everybody wants a piece of Robert Redford.
Should I introduce you to our guests?
Yes.
Hello. Arturo Ripscott.
How are you, Arturo? No, I haven't even had breakfast yet, you know. I guess I'll eat next week, huh?
You watch a few minutes of this and you think, no wonder he wants to get away from it all.
I wanted to find a place that was going to be the last outpost of development, and this seemed to be it. So I just bought 2 acres in 1961, bought 2 acres of land for $500.
You did.
And then I had to wait for 2 years before I could get the money to build my own house, which I did.
You mean you built it with your own hands?
Yep, me and the carpenter and his son. And that's how it all started.
From that beginning over the years, with the paychecks from his movies, Robert Redford bought 6,000 mountain acres up here and named the place after his first big movie role, Sundance. To really see it, you have to rise above the tree line.
Oh, this is lovely and silent. Did anybody live here before you did?
Yes, this area was inhabited by 3 different cultures, beginning with Native American cultures, the early Utes, the Anasazi before that. And they were all burning tribes. And when I came, this land was owned by a sheep herder, and I bought it from a sheep herder whose father had homesteaded this land as part of a geologic survey team in 1910.
Oh. That is as fine a view as I have seen.
Yeah. On a clear day, you can see out about 110 miles. And that, as far as your eye can travel to the horizon line, is the Uinta Mountain Range.
If anybody ever asks me why you don't live in Beverly Hills, now I'll be able to tell them.
You don't have to say, you just have to just stand here and shoot this.
On a few acres along a river in the valley, Redford made a small ski resort and arts compound with workshops for students of dance and literature and filmmaking.
What this basically is a triangle of buildings that are the center of the arts development. Dance rehearsal hall is over there. The screening room is behind me. The idea was to keep the buildings scaled small, not big, on the notion that it's better to have a big idea in a small building than the other way around.
About 40 miles up the valley in Park City, Utah, Robert Redford puts on his annual Sundance Film Festival, which he conceived as a place for new filmmakers to show off their work. He's trying to keep the film festival small too, but it's growing in spite of him.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Yeah, nice seeing you again.
To say that the festival is not political would be a mistake. We are, in the sense that we feature films of a political nature that illustrate the frustrations and the crises in those countries. Whenever there's an attempt to snuff politically, to use politics to snuff a point of view, then we try as best we can to come behind it and push that back out in the marketplace and encourage the work to be seen.
A lot of movie stars think it's a good idea to stay out of politics. He thinks it's a good idea to jump in, and he's in with both feet.
We have very strong feelings about the documentary.
Campaigning on film and in person against dams and development in the West, against censorship in the arts, against every kind of chauvinism that drives people apart.
I wanted to introduce you to Gustavo Grab.
Hello.
He's a film director from Chile of these.
This year, 6 Latin American films were on the Sundance program, and Robert Redford was there to endorse them.
Hey, hey,
Another of his heartfelt causes, human rights for American Indians. 13 Native American films were shown at Sundance a couple of weeks ago.
It's not a culture that depends on the written word, doesn't have one, has no written history to fall back on or depend on, so everything pretty much depends on their own mythology, their own rituals that are best usually portrayed through song, art, weaving, and now I'm hopeful, film. I believe that we're now going to see, happily, the first generation of Native American filmmakers, so finally we will have an ability out of that culture to tell their story from their point of view and not have to depend on someone else's point of view.
The sculpture and painting and weaving in his own house is Hopi and Zuni and Navajo.
The art collection just had to do purely with an emotional response to what I felt when I saw it. I started collecting Kachinas in 1966. And the Kachina doll is a spirit. And there are hundreds and hundreds of dolls because there are hundreds of spirits. And each spirit occupies a doll, and the doll represents the spirit. And then the spirit plays a very important
Once
role.
Robert Redford thought he was going to be an artist himself.
Is this in your European art student period?
Yeah. So when I was in France, art student in Paris and Italy, and these were just people I knew in the course of travels.
Had you any idea then that you were going to end up in motion pictures?
No. God, no.
When one of his teachers turned from mentor to critic, it broke his 19-year-old spirit.
He said, I'm very disappointed. And I was so crushed by that verdict and too immature to rise above it, that had a lot to do with my not pursuing art with a vengeance, which I had been doing up to that point.
Did there come a moment when you said to yourself, well, I'm not going to be an artist, I'm going to be an actor?
Yeah, there did, but it came long after I was an actor. I held some fantasy out of my head that I would return to art, and I carried that maybe 5 years into my acting career, and then finally one day just looked at myself in the mirror and I said, who are we kidding? This is what you do, this is what you do well and like it. Give up the idea that you're going to maintain this career in art.
I assume this is the tree that makes it the tree room.
This is the tree that...
It's easy to get the impression that the real Robert Redford is not the one we think we know from the movies. In our time with him, he didn't want to talk about movies. He wanted to talk about the big power plant project, which would have polluted the western air, the project he went up against and helped defeat. In gratitude, a woman who lived on the land gave him a great rug woven in 1883.
So I was just blown away. I mean, when I opened that, when I unrolled it, it's 21 feet by 8 feet. Interesting history is that the navy dye did not exist, and the dark color is actually from the cavalry coats of the officers that were killed by the Utes in the battles and woven into the rug. And if you look closely, you can see the dried blood stains and the actual holes where arrows went in.
Still, it must make your heart beat faster after working for an intense few months or a year on a film to come back to this rather plain and beautiful place.
Every time I come up this canyon, every time I see that and feel it, I realize that I'm not taking it for granted. I'm as excited as I was the first time I saw it.
Of course, there's not much mystery about where Robert Redford found the name for this 6,000-acre retreat high in the mountains of Utah.
What was hard about it was a pretty tough name to beat. And I tried all kinds of other names, and finally I thought, you know, you have to give in to the fact that is just a great name.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Well, that ought to do it.
The 1969 film, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, is considered a classic.
Think you used enough dynamite there, Butch?
With Redford, of course, as Sundance, and Paul Newman as Butch Cassidy.
What's the matter with you? I can't swim!
A pair of lovable outlaws. But not many people know that Redford almost didn't get the part.
I read some story that at one point they talked about teaming Marlon Brando with Paul Newman in that movie.
Oh God, I think everybody. I think I was so much the last choice. I think they tried.
Way.
No, I was. They tried everything to keep me out of the picture because I wasn't known compared to Paul.
His role as the Sundance Kid changed all that. Redford, who'd grown up in California, then went to Europe to study art and kind of fell into acting, was suddenly a big star, and life became very different.
Suddenly you realize that you were being treated like an object, and the danger to your psyche was that if you didn't pay attention and you didn't stay clear, you would begin to behave like one. And if you did that too long, you might end up becoming one, So I thought, you better look out for that.
He made some calculated choices, while he continued to star in mainstream movies like The Way We Were.
How do you do, old sport? I'm Gatsby.
And The Great Gatsby. There were also like Downhill Racer and The Candidate. And it was Redford who personally pushed to get All the President's Men made, where he and Dustin Hoffman, investigative reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein.
There is no way the White House can control the investigation.
It took 4 years. Yeah. And the studio didn't. They said politics. I don't think so. Watergate is a dead issue, and I said it's not. It's a detective story and about the American trait of hard work. And hard work led to something that spared us the loss of our First Amendment. That to me is worth making. I picked a spot that I thought was special.
Redford's experience with those hard-to-make films and his love of this dramatic Utah landscape led him to one of his most important off-screen roles, founding the Sundance Institute to help young filmmakers develop their craft.
So it finally occurred to me when I started the Institute and I watched how artists were here, and I thought, this is it, is a place for artists and the environment.
Roll camera.
This year, the Sundance Institute celebrates its 25th anniversary. A quarter of a century of workshops where acting, directing,
Action.
screenwriting, and editing are all honed.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, how are you?
The money comes from Redford himself, as well as fundraising and grants. The idea is to help nurture smaller, so-called independent films, which big studios ignored for years.
Well, there's that one scene that I don't want to...
Hollywood personalities like Christine Lottie, who first came here for an acting workshop, return to coach newcomers.
Are you aware of his interest in you, his more amorous interest in you? My specialty is helping these young directors learn a vocabulary to talk to their actors. And being an actor myself and having directed, I know a lot about it.
Like most pros who donate their time here, she does it in part because of Robert Redford.
He has nurtured independent filmmaking like no one else. He's really put his money where his mouth is, and I have a huge amount of respect for him.
And you're on the phone, you got the phone to your ear because she's talking to you.
Victoria Mahoney says that being one of 8 chosen from 3,000 applicants to participate in the director's workshop will make it easier for her to raise the money she needs to make her movie.
I think the film will be made sooner. Maybe it won't take 10 more years to get a whisper in someone's ear, to get a phone call returned.
Several successful movies got made after being worked on at the Institute, including Reservoir Dogs and Boys Don't Cry.
What do you usually talk about on
Sex.
Okay.
And other independent films like Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and Little Miss Sunshine, had been launched at an offshoot of the Sundance Institute, the Sundance Film Festival.
It is a lot of fun. You gotta say that.
Is it really? Are
Yeah,
you
the
having a good time?
atmosphere is fun.
You're
Yeah,
not
I'm-
bored now?
Bored? Who could be bored? The film festival, which actually takes place in Park City, about an hour away from Sundance, was created by Redford to showcase independent feature films and documentaries.
When it first started, a lot of people weren't coming in to see the movies. How'd you get them to come and watch the movies?
I can't tell you everything I did. It's shameful. But one ice is really, a lot of people think I'm kidding, but we stand in the corner and tell people, you ought to go and see this movie.
Now it's become an international happening, a chance to party and to see celebrities.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, nice shuffle. Here we're shuffling.
Redford says the hoopla can be overwhelming, but it has not altered the original purpose of the festival.
And to say, look, we're into discovering these new voices and we're bringing their work to you. You decide whether you like it or not. But you have such a wide choice, it makes it an exciting place to be.
I think a certain number of people come out here because this festival has the Robert Redford cachet, whether you like to admit that or not. You've got to know that's true.
What do you think that is?
Kind of hip and cool. And
Really?
Yeah,
I'm
really.
so pleased.
First time you've ever heard it, huh?
No, I heard it when I was younger, but it was always in the worst possible context, where I was standing in a principal's office. Or something, you know? Also, I like to ski.
You got
Hello.
Redford may try to play it down, but he is still very much the center of attention at the festival. And fledgling directors like Joseph Matthew credit him with drawing attention to their work.
Yeah, I would even call it like a miracle, you know? Like.
We rode with Matthew to the Sundance premiere of his documentary about immigration crossing Arizona.
And we just stand there and create a deterrence, you know? A line of people who say no mas.
What could grow out of being here and showing your film at the festival?
For me personally, I would hope that the next film will be a little bit easier to make, you know? Won't have to put everything. Won't have to put everything on my credit card.
Indeed, having a film showcased at Sundance is a definite status symbol, something that Redford obviously relishes as he goes into his, dare we say, advanced years.
You know, we've talked about this being a big year for Sundance, 25 years, big anniversary, but this is a big year for you too. You hit 70 years old. I can hardly believe.
I can't either.
Do you feel like you're 70
you
years
just
old?
killed this interview. Yeah, no, I can't, honest to God. I'm not being falsely this or that. It's hard for me to, I can't get a hold of that. But
Do you think that being involved in Sundance has had a toll on your own career?
it has, absolutely. It's set. Now, I've not been able to do as many films as I'd like to make because of a commitment to Sundance that grew larger than I imagined, and when you commit, you commit.
But Redford, who is divorced, the father of 3 grown children, and now a grandfather, still has plenty of star power. And he's got several new acting and directing projects going, including a film he's hoping to do with his old partner from both Butch Cassidy and The Sting.
You seem like you have had just a great life. Do you think you have?
Better than most. I've enjoyed it a lot. The good and the bad. It's all been a great education.
What do you think it is that pushes you? What makes you keep going?
It's the idea that if you can do more, you should.
If you look out this way,
yeah,
you see that range there, that's the Jemez Mountain range. And
Robert Redford just wouldn't look right in a city. He spent most of his life in places with more rocks than people, like his 250-acre ranch outside Santa Fe, New Mexico.
you can see why this had impact on me. Yeah. When I saw that and I realized, well, there's a great part of America that used to look that way, but there's less and less of it now. So why don't I buy some land here where I can preserve at least this view?
His love of nature is as much his signature as his windswept hair. But it's perhaps one scene from one of his most famous movies that best sums up how Robert Redford has lived his life.
Can I move?
Move? What the hell you mean move?
I'm better when I move.
Yeah.
Is that true for you in real life?
Yeah, I think so. I like movement. I always have.
At 82, he says it's time to move on from acting.
It's hard for me to hear that when you say it.
It's hard for me to say it.
Yeah?
Well, yeah, you don't like talking about your end. I mean, who does? You know, I can't do this forever. I've been doing it since I was 21. As you move into your 80s, you say, hey, that's enough. That's enough.
It's not exactly retirement. He'll still direct and produce. But as far as big screen performances, he says, it's time to go.
This place is not my style.
Not your style. You have style.
I do.
His last role, opposite Sissy Spacek, offers one more chance to show off his charm and wry smile.
I don't believe a word you say.
Probably a good idea.
In The Old Man and the Gun, he plays an aging bank robber on the run.
You're doing a great job.
The story is based on a real man, Forrest Tucker, who started robbing banks as a teenager in the late 1930s and never stopped.
Step on it.
This is not only a true story, but I can connect with it very, very easily because of the whole idea of an outlaw.
Excuse me, I'd like to open up an account.
Well, great. What type of account do you have in mind?
This kind.
I think probably I must have been born with an outlaw sensibility.
You think?
In terms of my nature, yeah, because from the time I was just a little kid, I was always wanting to go away from the rules. I didn't want to break any. I just didn't want to be held by them. In kindergarten, I ran away 3 times.
He was born in Santa Monica, California, in the shadow of Hollywood, but had no interest in movies as a career.
I grew up in kind of a rough neighborhood, and we'd go to matinees. Anytime there was a love scene on the screen, we'd go, oh, boo, you tell him, lover, you know, and make fun of the scene. Suddenly the idea that I would be that guy is just too much for me to take. You know?
He prayeth well, who loveth well, both man and bird and beast.
He, of course, came to define what a leading man was, full of character and charisma. The camera loved him.
I'd read where you said that there was as the success got bigger and bigger, that you felt a certain danger in the air. What was the danger?
Success. I think success is a double-edged sword. You want to shadow box with it, but you don't want to embrace it or dance too close.
Obviously, good looks are nothing to be shy about, but did you feel that sometimes people were looking at that instead of looking at the work?
I did. And in the beginning, it was a surprise to me because I didn't see myself that way.
You didn't see yourself as good looking?
No, I didn't.
Really?
So therefore, when it happened, I was kind of taken back. And I thought, well, I guess it could be worse.
Redford starred in hit after hit, but many of those films he's never watched.
How many have you not seen?
I don't know. I haven't ever counted them, but a lot. Because I thought if I look at myself too much, I'm going to be too aware of myself. And that means when I go to do something new, I won't be able to do it without being slightly aware of what I'm doing rather than just being free.
When it comes to...
How about you? How do you feel about it? You must see yourself on these shows as the interviewer.
You know, I've got to be honest, I don't watch myself either. I usually don't.
Well, then we
watch
have
the
that in common. This is really great.
You really don't like anything he's done?
Not much.
Really? Because...
I guess it has a lot to do with you do something, then move on.
He moved on to directing, where he won an Oscar for Ordinary People.
Maybe this is how they sit around and talk at the hospital, but we're not at the hospital now.
You never came to the hospital!
Its tale of depression wasn't an easy lift, but that's what Redford was looking for. Something different.
She would have come if Buck was in the hospital.
Buck never would have been in the hospital!
That's enough! That is enough!
He produced and acted in All the President's Men, which was another hard sell.
Bernstein got another source. The guy just is confirmed.
If there's any doubt, we can run it tomorrow.
You don't have to. The story's solid. We're sure of it. He's just got off the phone and it's gold.
Okay, we go with it.
Watergate the movie was an idea few relished, including the publisher of the Washington Post, Katharine Graham, who begged Redford not to make it.
She said, okay, I can't stop you from making the film, but please do not have me in it. You have to honor me that. So I said, okay, I will. When she saw the film, she said, I'm sorry I told you not to have me in the film.
White House.
Howard Hunt, please.
For all the political involvement that you've had over your career, I've never seen you stump for any individual candidate.
No.
Why is that?
I think I first learned that when I was just starting out. I was an actor who was suddenly being asked to appear with candidates that were political. And I thought, wow, well, that's an honor. Somebody wants to have me stand up there with them?
Yeah.
No. They wanted me there to attract a crowd. I realized I was being used. So, okay, no more of this.
Did you ever think of running for anything yourself?
No.
No?
No, that would be a disaster.
This is the 33rd festival.
He's had great success at protecting independent film. The Sundance Institute in Utah, and later the Sundance Film Festival, became the gardens from which many Oscar-winning independent films grew.
Did you ever expect Sundance to grow into what it became,
No.
what it is now?
No. I didn't think it would last past 2 or 3 years.
You really didn't?
No.
It's almost too big now, he confesses, at least for a man as private as Redford. Like most things, he's proud of it, but that's about as far as he'll go.
I think it was a T.S. Eliot phrase that you're
There's
fond
only
of.
the trying, the rest is not our business.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite phrases because you can't guarantee where the trying is going to get you. So you can't guarantee the result, but the only thing there is in place is the trying. That's where the action is.
For a man so at home in the mountains, it seems he's enjoyed the climb more than his time at the summit. But easing into retirement, he admits the view from the top wasn't half bad.
At a certain point, I was getting so much attention that I began to think, hey, I guess maybe I am a pretty big deal. and that settled me down.